At the state capitol with Representative Shane Jett. Representative Jett, a few interviews ago, you tell us that your sport of choice is politics, and you come in fuming.
Yes, I was a little bit upset. Right now on the House floor, we just got through voting on making it a felony if you break into someone's farm where they're raising trophy bucks, shoot those trophy bucks, and then you're going to be charged with a felony. Well, I'm all about charging criminals for doing the wrong thing, but we're putting felonies willy-nilly out here on every kind of crime. And recently, in fact, this last legislative session, we put a felony on making false teeth. That was brought in at the last moment. It was put in on a bill, and we didn't find out about it until it hit the House floor, and we were assured by the author that it didn't change anything, just made the penalty stiffer. But penalties being stiffer whenever you change something from a misdemeanor to a felony can make a huge difference. And we have people that used to make false teeth for a living, people in my House district and other House districts that took care of people who couldn't afford false teeth. Instead of making $300 false teeth, now they're going to have to pay $3,000 false teeth. We also have a veterinarian on the House floor who put horse dentists for floating teeth, went from being a misdemeanor to a felony. And we have someone in that's looking at maybe a 4-year prison term because here someone who is a dentist wrote a law to put competitors out of a business. This is a problem. This is why it's very important that we stay vigilant. It's not appropriate that if you make false teeth that you're a felon. It's not appropriate that if you fix teeth for farmers when you have cattle and it costs several $100s per teeth and you have 10, 15 horses, that's a lot of money. And it's unfortunate when you have someone that's going to directly benefit from the passing of this law by eliminating an entire class of competitors. It's reprehensible. I was fuming. And then when we go on the House floor just now, it reminded me that we're trying to make felons out of everything because it's costing money. And what we need to be doing is raising the penalties on real crimes, but not criminalizing an entire trade in Tecumseh, Oklahoma, or other places. So yes, I'm frustrated. I find that some people are you're supposed to take constitutional privilege. In other words, you're not supposed to vote on anything that might impact you or have a positive impact on you. So if you're going to make money off of a bill, if you're a realtor and it has to do with real estate, you shouldn't even vote on that bill. But we have veterinarians who have passed a law to eliminate an entire class of competition. And yeah, I'm frustrated with that. And I'm going to go to bat, and I asked some questions to raise that issue on the House floor just now, and we need to fix some problems here.
Well, in many of the districts, of course, in Oklahoma, at least, are very rural. What do your constituency say about these different issues?
Well, I was visiting out at the Tecumseh Roundup Club yesterday, and if you have 15 head of horses and you have to pay several $100s to a few $100s, suddenly you're looking at not being able to afford some things that you used to afford. So my constituents are furious. We have a lot of cattle in House District 27, Potawatomi, Cleveland counties, but throughout the state, horse industry is huge in Oklahoma. And we've basically moved anyone that's a horse dentist or someone that is skilled in cutting and filing off horse teeth or cattle. Suddenly now they're felons, and that's what's inappropriate. That's in my opinion, that's legislation run amok, and we need to fix it.
So talk a little bit about the process of government and what you brought to my attention now is that if legislation is run and you're affected by it and you're a representative, you shouldn't be a part of that. You shouldn't be part of that legislation.
That's right. You should not be here on the people's dime trying to write legislation that directly benefits you. That's not why 35,000 people voted for us to be here, is so that we could line our own pockets or do something that benefits us. The benefit should be uniformly applied to the entire state. Everyone should have a better state when we leave here, not one particular industry like dentists or veterinarians. And I'm all about making sure that they have good trade, that they're protected, but making felons out of competitors is not the right way to go.
And explain the one that you heard this morning on the floor. Was it different, the bucks being shot on farmers' land?
Right. No, what it is if you have a deer farm, if someone is taking bolt cutters and they're cutting in, and they're getting in, and they're shooting your buck, and I'm completely opposed to that. That's a real crime. And I'm more in favor of a real crime being called a felony than a commercial endeavor, something you've been doing for 2 generations, as it is in Tecumseh, Oklahoma, and then suddenly you're called a felon. You have to close up shop because you went from being a John Q. citizen helping poor people that can't afford to to buy false teeth, to be able to do that, suddenly you're just like a rapist or a murderer. I mean, it used to be a felony meant something. A felony was something that you could spend time, you could even lose your life over a felony. But my goodness, making false teeth or filing down horses' teeth, that's inappropriate, I think, and that's the reason why it's so important that we hear from constituents, because when the bill was presented to me on the House, and I don't know all the information, it's important that I hear from my constituents because they have the expertise and the real-life experience to help enrich my ability to represent them on the House floor. So when I started hearing from the different farms and ranches in my district, I realized that the legislation that was presented to me by a veterinarian wasn't presented in good faith. And in fact, one of the veterinarians said that someone in their family had floated X number of teeth just this previous weekend. You should have taken constitutional privilege if you are directly benefiting from legislation where your competitors are not able to do that. So I guess you're going to go from 8 to 16 floated teeth over the weekend. That's the problem. And again, that's why it is so important that we hear from you to let us know when your real-life experience can give insight to me, I can better represent you here. Sometimes we catch it in time, but sometimes we don't. But we are going to continue to work on this to reverse this. It's not appropriate that making false teeth or floating horses' teeth should be a felony. That's inappropriate.
And on mylegislator.tv, we have Representative Reniger, where he explains his side of this issue, and that's what we need to do as the public. Become informed to both sides, and then we need to contact our legislators. Right here on the website, search Representative Reniger and hear the other side of the story. Thanks a lot, Representative Shane Jett, for your time with us and explanations of how you see things.
Very good. Thanks for the opportunity, and I'm a little more upset this time than the other times we've had some good interviews, but sometimes you have a right to get upset. It's called righteous indignation. Whenever your constituents have been done wrong, or when the right laws haven't been passed, they need to be fixed. And Jesus said, be angry, just don't sin. So I'm going to try to do that. But this needs to be addressed, and I appreciate the opportunity to get that information out to my constituents, and I appreciate what you're doing here, Daniel.